Alright, it's time for Season 2, Episode 12, The Nightmare Continues. A story called Empty by Eric Ruggles. The last time we left off, all the main characters knew that Rayden was alive and in Hickory. JJ, Sheriff Reeves, Chastain, and Turner. And fortunately, or unfortunately, whichever way you want to take it, Kierion was in the diner when Chastain and Turner got the call, so now he knows Rayden is alive. He also heard in the conversation, being that he is a werewolf and he had the keen sense of hearing, could hear the whole conversation on the phone, and he knows that they're going to all meet at Rayden's house. So when he leaves, Kierion that is, he goes to the woods and he begins to come up with a scheme to murder all these people that know about him, to find out about Rayden, and to kill Rayden, as well as Kierion if he's still alive, and find out about what happened to Kierion. Alright? Also, Sheriff Reeves was on his way to investigate the missing boys in the woods. And that's kind of where we pick up at. JJ just got off the phone with him. So, JJ sat in the sheriff's office, mentally preparing himself for an encounter with Kierion. He sat there with his eyes closed at his desk, clearing his mind of all thoughts, except destroying Kierion. After a few minutes of sitting there, JJ's eyes opened, and there was a look of determination, a look that basically said, I will not and cannot fail. JJ then leaned over and opened up the bottom drawer of the desk. It had the usual files from past cases in alphabetical order and a box of paper clips and staples at the bottom of the drawer. There was something strange about this drawer, however. It was deeper than what it appeared on the surface. JJ made sure Nancy was preoccupied. He shifted the bottom of the drawer, exposing a secret compartment that had an old wooden box in it. He pulled the box out and examined it for just a few seconds. It was a wooden box about 18 inches long and approximately 6 inches wide. The box on the top had an ancient scripture basically talking about the Dark One, and how one day he will try to rule the world, and the key to stopping him was inside the box. JJ had found the box and its concealed item inside the box at a creepy old ancient artifact store in Germany while traveling in search of the supernatural. JJ, beaming with a smile as big as the Grand Canyon is wide, quickly put the box in his camo backpack and swung the bag onto his back. Nancy, JJ said, I need a favor. Nancy replied, Sure, what is it? I need to leave. It is extremely important. Will you be okay here by yourself? Asked JJ. Nancy said, What about Sheriff Reeves? JJ said, He knows. Well, then I can handle it. No worries, as Nancy gave him the nod to go. With that said, JJ started walking out the door, got in his truck, buckled up, started it up, and headed toward Rayden's home. JJ mumbled to himself, It's time to take care of some business. Sheriff Reeves finally arrives. At the school and headed toward the back parking lot where the football stadium sat, and the woods which he needed to search were across the parking lot. Reeves parked the sheriff's car next to the edge of the woods, and it wasn't but just a few minutes later, and pretty much the whole crew of deputies pulled up in their separate cars. Reeves made a radio call that he needed every deputy to help him with the search when he was on his way to the school. Of course, they all heard Nancy's long explanation over the radio, so the deputies knew they were in search of 3 missing boys. So as expected, the cars pulled up and surrounded Sheriff Reeves' car. Reeves got out of his car and waited for all the deputies to come together around him. Once the last car duo of deputies reached the group of other deputies, they gathered around Reeves. Reeves started shouting out orders. "Listen up," shouted Reeves. "I want 10 feet between deputies and a line stretched out at the edge of these woods. The center line should be even with the bleachers on the football field. That should give us a range of about 50 feet west and 50 feet east. We will head straight north until we reach a cabin that is the last place the boys were known to be heading and supposedly at. Gentlemen, guns are out and eyes are open. Be alert. There is a killer out there, possibly more than one, and the murders they have committed have been brutal. If you see anything suspicious, make sure we are yelling out to one another. Keep communication open." The group pretty much in unison said, "Yes, sir." The deputies proceeded to get in the formation that the Sheriff Reeves wanted. Once in position, Sheriff Reeves gave the signal and the formation began to move. At center point, and about 10 to 20 feet ahead of everyone, was Sheriff Reeves. This was the first time in Reeves' life he was scared and nervous about what he may find. It had been the first time in Reeves' life that he ever was nervous about a search. It had been about an hour, and Sheriff Reeves and the deputies had found nothing. If you're enjoying this story right now, please hit the like button and also the subscribe. You can go to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@EricRuggles. You can hit the playlist Empty Podcast Episodes, and it will give you the first seasons, episodes 1 through 9, and the first 11 episodes of season 2. All right, so become a subscriber today. Back to the story. All right. One of the deputies yelled out, "This is just some punk kid's bullshit story." Reeves yelled back, "Possibly, but let's go 5 more minutes deep, and if there's nothing, we will call off the search for now. I need to be somewhere in about 15 minutes ago." The deputies all started laughing as they continued to walk deeper in the woods. 3 minutes had passed, and a scream from one of the deputies rang out throughout the woods in a horrifying cry. "Holy shit, Sheriff, come quickly!" Reeves headed in the direction of the scream, and he was there in an instant, and terror struck, and it was worse than he could ever imagine. Reeves stood in the middle of the woods, face pale from the gruesome sight that lies scattered across the trees, bushes, and ground. There was no green left in the general area. Everything was covered in blood and stained red. Multiple limbs laid on the ground and several pieces just ripped to shreds. After several minutes of searching, there appeared to be parts from 3 different bodies, but no heads. They were all missing. Some of the deputies were told to go north a few more minutes to see if there was a cabin. About 10 minutes later, they came back to report to Reeves that there was a cabin about 150 yards north. Reeves, looking down at the red ground, saw what looked like to be him, a mangled foot, missing the shoe and sock, just mangled flesh, with insects and maggots all over it. The sight about made Reeves puke, but he held it back to show he was a strong leader. Other deputies, however, let the chunks fly. This was a scene out of a definite horror movie to them. Reeves quietly whispered, "This is no human." A deputy close by said, "What was that, Sheriff?" And the sheriff replied, "I have to go. I have a feeling that the people I know, well, the people I need to meet, They're in trouble. His thoughts were scrambled from the scene. He just couldn't collect them. But he knew that he had to get to JJ and the others in order to save them. Gentlemen, get the coroner out here, clean up the crime scene, and search that cabin for any evidence or clues of what might have done this. Deputy Jones looked at Reeves and said, "What do you mean? Who? Right? You mean who, right?" Reeves said, "No. I mean what? Jones, here's the phone number for Detective Chastain. Please call him on your cell phone and describe what has happened here. Then, as a group, please go let the mothers of these children know we found their sons. God be with them on that one." As Sheriff Reeves finished giving orders to Deputy Jones, he bolted south back toward the school. His adrenaline was so high and his fear of the unknown allowed Reeves to reach his squad car in a quick amount of time for a middle-aged man. He had ran about 5 or so miles in 35 minutes, hoping he was not too late to save JJ and the detectives. Reeves jumped in his car, hit the lights, and headed towards 1616 Oakwood Drive. By the time Reeves had got to his car, Chastain had already received the phone call from Deputy Jones. Chastain and Turner had already left the diner and were on their way to Rayden's house. Jones' call was answered. Chastain answered it while he was driving. He heard a voice on the other line say, "Go to the video chat with me." "Who is this?" asked Chastain. "This is Deputy Jones. I am with Sheriff Reeves, and I am at a murder scene in the woods." Of course, they were in the car, and the phone was Bluetooth connected, so Turner could hear the whole conversation. Turner chimed in and said, "Murder scene? Is that the missing boys?" "Yes," said Jones. Turner took the phone while Chastain continued to drive. Turner hit the video camera on the screen of the phone, and Jones' face appeared on Chastain's phone. Jones said, "Are you driving?" "Yes," said Chastain. "Well, then you need to pull over. And I am serious." So Chastain, with a look of concern toward Turner, pulled the car over against the curb. Jones then said, "You ready?" And Chastain and Turner both said, "Yes." Jones slowly turned the phone so the camera was now pointing at the blood-soaked foliage of the woods. In the background, the detectives could see the managed body parts and the flesh chunks on the ground in the bushes. Chastain murmured, "Heaven help us." Jones' voice was heard, and he mentioned the cabin just about 150 yards north of where the murders happened. So there you have it. Chastain and Turner are a little freaked out about what they saw. Definitely the deputies puking in the woods, a little freaked out about what they saw. And Reeves was heading to Rayden's house now, trying to be there in time to save them because he believes whatever did this was not human. All right. So if you're enjoying this story, again, please hit like. Go to my YouTube channel. You'll see more episodes of it. Get the full story. Start from season 1, and it gets better with the pictures and the reading. I try. And then get to season 2 and catch up where we are now. If you would, become a subscriber. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying it.